Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today I'm bringing you guys a reading that I'm actually really excited to do because it's very meaningful to me personally. And so today, this reading is going to help you find out how you can become the kind of person that people will look up to. So the kind of intention that I'm going with this is maybe you're an older sibling and you want to be somebody that your younger siblings can look up to. Maybe you guys don't have a positive role model in your life, so you want to find out how you can be that positive role model. Maybe you want to have kids and you want your kids to be able to look up to you. You want to be a really positive role model for them. Or maybe you just want to better your community, you want to better your friend groups, and be the first person to make those big changes that make people follow along the way. Because I feel like we really are the kind of people that we surround ourselves with. And so if you start with yourself, start by making profound impacts on bettering yourself, you'll start to see that the people around you will follow suit. So that is the kind of thing that we're going to be looking at here today in these readings. So I have 3 different readings for you to choose from. Pile 1, Pile 2, and Pile 3. So go ahead and pause, figure out which feather or pile you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, Pile 1. If you chose Pile 1, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now I want to start off by saying that what I'm about to say in this reading might upset you. It might step on some toes, it might offend you. And I don't do this with the intent to hurt your feelings or put you down, put down your beliefs. I do this because this is what I'm honestly seeing in the reading. This is what I'm channeling. These are the kinds of messages that are coming through. So basically, don't kill the messenger. And if you truly feel like something doesn't resonate with you, it could just be that the pile isn't meant for you. But I ask you to differentiate between what your ego tells you versus what your intuition tells you. Because what I'm about to say here, I can already tell might be a little bit offensive. So just getting that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. So starting off with these 2 cards here, the first card, the gazelle, is who you are right now. What is your energy like? And the spider card is who do you need to become to be the kind of person that people look up to? Who do you need to become to be a role model for those kinds of people? And when I see the gazelle card, this is the energy that is being shown to me that you are right now. When I think of a gazelle, I think of somebody who runs away when things get hard. Somebody who is so afraid of getting hurt that they run away no matter who they're leaving behind, no matter what they're leaving behind. And I think that this comes from a long line of self-preservation. Maybe this is something that you were taught to do at a very young age. You had to look out for your own skin, and you didn't have time to look out for or care for the people around you. Because maybe there was some sort of threat in your life. Maybe it was an abusive parental figure. Maybe it was an unsafe life environment. Or maybe you completely grew up on your own and you couldn't trust anyone. You had to learn to run away to protect yourself. When I look at the gazelle, I also think this is like a prey creature. This is not a creature that knows how to defend itself. It only knows how to run away. And I feel like this is telling me that you still kind of live in this feeling where you have this lack of self-empowerment. You don't have a strong belief in yourself to stand your ground. You don't have a strong confidence in your beliefs, a strong confidence in your abilities. And when the going gets tough, I feel like you easily ghost people. You easily cut people off or you shut them out, maybe putting up boundaries that aren't really serving you or serving them. You know, sometimes boundaries are good. But if your boundaries are just shutting people out instead of letting yourself be vulnerable, that's where a lot of problems can arise. And I feel like this energy all stems from fear. I feel like you grew up in an environment where you were constantly afraid. And Spirit wants you to know that you don't have to be afraid anymore. I obviously this is a general reading and I don't know how old you are, but I don't think that you're a child anymore. I think that you're somebody who can grow up and stand their own ground. You don't have to listen to other people. There's no longer anyone lording over you, controlling your life, controlling your actions, or putting you down. You're free. You know, as a child, you can't really control what goes your way. You have to act certain ways and behave certain ways so that your needs are met, so that you're taken care of. But you've reached adulthood and it's like these beliefs and these behaviors that you're still holding on to aren't serving you anymore because now you're in charge of your own life. You're able to control your own destiny and take care of your own self. You no longer have people that have power over you, but it's like you haven't realized that yet. And you still run away when you're afraid. But with the spider card, the version of you that people look up to, the spider is still small. It's something that can be easily squashed. And I'm not saying you're going to be invincible. I'm not saying that you're going to be this like powerhouse that beats people up. But the reason that the spider is strong and that people can look up to it is because it takes care of the people that it cares for. When I see them meticulously building these webs across days, they're building a home, a place that they can be safe, a place that people like them can be safe. I mean, of course, I know spiders are like solitary creatures, but when they have babies, it's like they raise them in these homes that they meticulously crafted to be safe. And so the version of you that people look up to, you can be the kind of person that people find comfort in, the kind of person that will meticulously weave a web to protect those that they care about. Even though they know their limitations, they know the limits of their strength, they know the limits of their power, they still put in hard hours of work and time and energy to protect those that they care about. And spiders are kind of scary. Like, a lot of people are scared of spiders, even though they're very small. So I feel like you will develop into this level of confidence that people know that they can't fuck with you. Like, maybe I'm imagining in my mind a gazelle as a human, which would be somebody kind of like short in stature, maybe somebody who's a little on the small side. But when you think of a spider, these things are so minuscule, but they will make grown men like run away screaming. Like that, and it's that combination of that confidence that scares people off, the ability to hold your ground. Like when I think of a spider, it doesn't run away, it holds its ground, it stays grounded in one spot. And it also builds up a beautiful web, a beautiful home for itself and those that it cares about. And that is the kind of person that you are growing into. Not somebody that runs away when things get tough, not somebody that feels disempowered or doesn't have strength. Somebody that stands their ground and scares other people off, scares the bad people off. So that is what I see for your first two cards. Now getting into the specifics, and this is the part that I thought might offend you. These first two cards are all about what should you stop doing. And I was a little confused, but also I got it right away, but I was like, I don't know if I should say this, because it could definitely hurt some feelings. Because the cards that you have here are faith and judgment. And I'm just going to tell you straight up, I feel like the religious or spiritual beliefs that you have right now, they need to evolve a little bit. Because I think that you carry a sense of like self-righteousness or judgment, or maybe you have a very large ego at the moment, and you kind of judge people based on your faith at first glance. Now, I'm not saying that you belong to any one specific religion. This is a general reading, and I'm not saying that any one religion is bad. I don't think there are any bad religions, but it's the way that you use a spirituality or a religion. It's the way that you use these beliefs. And it doesn't even need to be a religion per se. With the faith card, this could just be the way that you think about the world, the way that you perceive the world. I think that you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder right now. You have this sense of judgment towards certain people rather than unconditional love for all people. And I know that can be very hard to find. Oftentimes it's a very much us versus them kind of dynamic because it protects us, especially if you're coming from an energy like the gazelle energy. You very much had to protect yourself, and so you had to have this sense of judgment. Who's bad? Who's good? Who should stay out of my life? But now it's gotten to this point where it's like you just kind of have this sense of judgment that's unfair to some people, where you judge them right away, like judging a book by its cover, and you're not giving a fair shot to certain people. Now, I think that there's an important balance to have here. I don't think that you should completely get rid of judgment, especially when it comes to seeing like who is a possible threat or who shouldn't be trustworthy. But I think that you need to find a balance between the two of learning how to protect yourself, learning like how to sense if somebody's not a good person versus just judging a person at first glance. Because I think that closes you off to a lot of connections. If you suddenly think like, oh, this person said this thing this one time, so therefore they're a bad communicator, and I don't think that they should be in my life, they shouldn't be in other people's lives. I think you need to come down off your high horse a little bit, especially if this is, like I said in the beginning, if this is a spiritual kind of thing. There's this thing that a lot of people do, and I even used to do, where you get so into spirituality and learning the truth of things and like transcending that you don't really think of yourself as a person anymore. You start to think from the point of view of like a spiritual being, and therefore you start to think that you're above everyone else. When in fact, we came here to have a human existence, we came here to have a human life. We are human just like everyone else, and there is nothing that makes us better or worse than anybody else. And when you can kind of start to see that equality amongst everyone, it kind of lessens that judgment a little bit. And like I said, it's okay to have a healthy amount of judgment when it comes to keeping yourself safe and staying away from bad people, but don't put everyone below you in your mind. Especially if it's like first glance, you don't know a person yet and you judge them very harshly. That can close you off to a lot of beautiful connections, and it can also push away people that are close to you. If, they can sense that you're judging them, that might make them not want to be around you. So this next part is all about what you need to do more in order to become the kind of person that people look up to. And the cards that you have here are Energy and the Chariot reversed. I think that you easily give up on a lot of things that you want to work towards. And again, I think that this stems from your lack in belief of yourself, your lack of confidence, and your lack of self-empowerment. But I think that you need to recognize that you have a lot of energy dwindling under the surface. I think that you have so much potential. You're such a creative person, such a hard worker, but you have these self-limiting beliefs that stop you from moving forward. When I look at the Chariot card, when it's upright, it's supposed to be this person that moves towards their goals and their desires with full momentum, full power, full force, and they can accomplish whatever they set their mind to. But when it's reversed, it's like you don't even see your own power. You don't realize just how much power you have to accomplish whatever it is that you desire. And this energy that's dwindling under the surface, you don't even see how much potential that you have underneath. But once you can get rid of self-limiting beliefs of, oh, I'm just not good at that, or I'm not good at these kinds of things, like maybe it's like running, for instance. This is a funny example because of the gazelle card, but maybe it's like running, and you were put down when you were younger, said, oh, you run weird. And so for the rest of your life, you're like, oh, well, I just don't know how to run properly. I just can't run. So you never get up and try. But in reality, if you had gotten rid of those self-limiting beliefs, if you got rid of the words that you cast towards your own mind, and you said, okay, what if I just tried? What if I just practiced? You could see the potential that you have to run like an Olympic athlete. Like, that's the kind of potential that I see under your surface. There is something that you are meant to do. And it's not even just like a particular thing. It's like whatever it is that you want to set your mind to, you could accomplish. But I feel like you hold yourself back. Like maybe you didn't apply to a certain school because you're like, I'm just not smart enough to get in there, so I might as well not try. I need you to listen to the words that you tell yourself, the beliefs that you believe about yourself, what you can accomplish. There is nothing in the world that can limit a person's potential except for ourselves. And there's a quote that I heard that if you don't quit, you win. But if you quit on yourself over and over again, you're never going to experience what it feels like to win. I truly believe that you can accomplish anything that you want to. You just need to be able to put in the work. You just need to be able to become disciplined. And even if you don't believe in yourself, still just putting one foot in front of the other until you get there will prove to you that you can do it. You don't have to believe in yourself to try something. You don't have to believe in yourself to do something. You just need to start doing it. And I'm not going to tell you to just believe in yourself. I want you to prove it to yourself that you can do these things. If there's something that you've always wanted to do or try or work towards, start working towards it. Don't force yourself to believe in yourself first, because you can't believe in yourself until you've proven to yourself that you can do it. So just put one foot in front of the other, at least just try, and if you fall down, so what? Get back up and try again. The only way that we fail is if we quit. So don't quit. You have such an amazing potential that I can see within you. But because you were put down at such a young age, because you were cast aside and had these self-limiting beliefs that were put into your mind by other people, it's like you believe that you can't amount to anything. It's like you believe that you're stuck in this victim, this prey energy of the gazelle, but you're not. You don't have to run away anymore. You can stand your ground and start marching towards what you want. And finally, the last two cards with the kind of person that you can grow into being, the kind of person that people look up to. The cards that we have here are Consciousness and the King of Swords. And I think what this is telling me is, in order to be this kind of person that I've been talking about, this kind of person that people look up to, that has the strength of a spider that people just look at and are afraid of, in order to be that kind of person, what you need to do is just delve into your consciousness. Like with this Consciousness card and the King of Swords, these cards are very cerebral. It's all about thought, logic, action, words. So in order to become this kind of person, I think what you need to do is you need to start unlearning all these preconceived notions about yourself, like I said. I think a lot of the work that needs to be done is in your own mind. It's not, I think physically, of course, like I said, like putting one foot in front of the other and proving to yourself that you can do things. But the majority of what you need to do is unlearn all these beliefs that you have inside your mind. Doing the shadow work necessary to develop your confidence, to find your inner strength, to become self-empowered. And the truth is, no one is going to do this for you except for you. No one is going to hold your hand through this. No one is going to force you to do shadow work. No one is going to force you to get out of this victim mindset of the gazelle. No one is going to force you to become this powerful spider energy. No one is going to force you or hold your hand to get you to the end goal that you desire. The only person that can do it is you. And I don't say this to scare you, because I don't think it's impossible. I don't think anything is impossible, especially not if it just has to do with going into your mind and unlearning certain things. This is entirely possible for you, and it is something that you are being called to do. So I want to give you some ideas of things that you could do, like in your actual day-to-day life, to start working on this, because I know it can be confusing, like where do I start, how do I start? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and your single step can look as small as just deciding to take action, just deciding right now that you no longer want to live in this mindset. You no longer want to be put down by your own words. You no longer want to live in insecurity. You no longer want to live in fear. That is the first step, is just deciding, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be better. Just admitting that to yourself, just saying it out loud and meaning it. The next step that I would recommend, like what helped me personally in my, self-healing journey, is listening to podcasts. Somebody who is very empowering, even though I don't agree with everything that he says, but I highly recommend his podcast. It's honestly the best podcast I've ever listened to. I haven't ever found anybody that is as emotionally intelligent as this man. His name is Leo Skeppy, and he has a podcast called Aware and Aggravated. This isn't sponsored, obviously, though I wish it was, because I love this man. I used to, I saw his TikToks online, and I was like, God, this guy's full of it, because a lot of his TikToks were just messing around, having fun. I'm like, this guy's kind of annoying. And I saw his podcasts on YouTube popping up in my feed, and I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna listen to this guy. It's just another man with a podcast. But then as they kept popping up, I was like, you know what, maybe the universe is trying to tell me to listen to this man. And I did listen to his videos, and I was blown away. I have actually learned so much from this guy. A lot of the things that I say in this reading have actually come from what I've learned from his podcast. So the second thing I'm recommending to you is finding podcasts of people that you want to be like. There's another person, if you're looking for a more, she has a lot of the same messages, but they're gentler. I think Leo definitely will give you the kick in the ass that you need, but it can kind of scare you off if you're not ready for it, because it's a little aggressive. But someone else I would recommend, what's her name? She's also a tarot reader online. It's Chloe Taylor. Maybe you've seen her videos, but she has a podcast called Divine Authenticity. I also highly encourage you to listen to those. Those are what I started out with. They were a lot more comfortable, helping me get out of my comfort zone. Leo is definitely somebody that's you work your way up to, because it can be a little scary being yelled at to get your ass into gear. But I definitely think it's what some people need. It's what I personally need. But I encourage you to do your research, find people online that you want to be like, and start taking in their content, especially podcasts, because something I always say is we are like the people that we have around us. And if you can't have positive influences physically around you in real life, the next best thing is the kind of media that you take in. Because we take in a lot of media. We listen to a lot of videos, a lot of TikToks. We see stuff on Instagram all the time. So if you can replace that with positive influences, like podcasters that you actually want to be like someday, that can be a great thing that you can do for yourself. And the third thing that I would recommend is just picking up some books. I love going to Barnes & Noble. I know books can be kind of expensive, but there's like an entire personal growth section, or self-help, whatever you want to call it, that have amazing books on psychology, spirituality, and all things that can help you grow into this person that you want to be. And of course, this journey is all your own. You know, what works for me, the kinds of things that I like listening to or reading, might not be the same things that can help you, but it's all about just starting on that journey. And this is one of the easiest things that I can think of, is just putting a podcast on in the background and listening to the words that it says, listening to how it resonates with you, and what it kind of makes you want to do, what it makes you want to turn into. I see so much potential for you, but I see that you're still living in this fear mindset that's been forced on you from a young age. And I see just how much potential that you have to grow into such a strong, caring person, somebody that can scare people off with a look, that people like you feel comfortable being around, that people can feel comfortable in your web that you've built for them. So, pile 1, that is everything that I have for you. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope this brought you some clarity and helps bring you some confidence that you need. But yeah, that's everything that I have for you. If you enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe and stick around, because I do post about twice a week. Or just like the video or check out any of the other ones on my channel, because it does help out a ton. But yeah, that's everything that I have for you. Bye-bye. Okay, pile 2. I am excited for your reading because oh my god, I'm like frustrated looking at these cards. I understand what it's saying. It's not frustration like I can't figure it out. It's frustration because I'm like, I don't mean to put you down, but I'm frustrated at you. I'm not frustrated at you. I'm frustrated because of the position that I see that you have in your life. I see how disempowered you are. I see how people put you down and underestimate you. And I see that you kind of lean into it. You allow the self-deprecating jokes because you want to fit in. You want to be loved. And I don't blame you for this. But it pains me when I see people going through this. And I think that this is a position that you have been in for a very long time. And I see how badly you're hurting. I see how depressed you are. In my head, I just heard the words, I hate myself. And I feel like you've been told this story for so long about how you're dumb or you're ugly or you're just so many words. And it's like you lean into it because you're like, well, people think I'm the funny one, or, people will accept me if I just lean into this, if I make a joke about it. But you've been making jokes about yourself for so long, it's like you believe that they're true, and they're not. You are so intelligent. You are so, so smart. And you have so much that needs to be expressed to the world. There are so many people that would love to hear your creativity, hear the stories that you have to tell, hear the things that you want to tell people. You have so much potential inside of you, and it hurts me because I see that you are so above these people that you hang around. These people that put you down, they are nothing. They are so meaningless. And I don't say that about people. I have a deep love for all humanity, but sometimes I just get so frustrated with people. And I could go on and on. I'm not going to defend these people because I see that what they're doing is wrong. But it's like, you need to empower yourself because you've just taken it. You've allowed it to happen. And it's because you wanted to be loved. You thought that people wouldn't care about you, people wouldn't love you because maybe you looked funny. Or maybe you weren't as smart when you were younger. And so you're like, okay, if I just make jokes about it, people will think that I'm funny. And then I can fit in with everyone else. And then, I'll be loved. Because that's why we do things. We want to be loved. We want to be taken care of. We want to feel like we are worthy of things. But you don't have to do this anymore. Because it's not true. And you're still putting yourself down. You're still making jokes about how you're the dumb one in the friend group. Or, because I'm the ugly duckling of the friend group. You're not. You're not. And I had to like rant about that to first get this out because it's like heartbreaking to see these cards. And I don't want you to think that I'm yelling at you when I take this tone of voice. It's almost like I'm pleading with you because I want you to see the truth. I want you to see how much beauty and potential that you have. Like, I can't even convey to you when I see who you're meant to become. It is so high above everyone else. You are such an empathetic person. You're such a caring person. You're such an intelligent person. You are so smart. You have so much to offer the world. And it's like these people that you put yourself down for, these people that you hang around, are so beneath you. They have so many lessons to learn. They have so much to work through. They have their own insecurities and their own journey that they need to work through. And it's the reason that they behave like this. It's the reason that they think it's funny to put you down, because it makes them feel better about themselves. It makes them feel like they're worth something, like they're meaningful in some capacity. But they're not. You have long since outgrown these people, and you deserve so much better than to be treated like this. And for so long you've told yourself lies about yourself so that you could be loved, so that you could fit in. But it's a betrayal to yourself. And it's a deep, deep hurt to yourself and your soul every time that you say that you hate yourself. Every time that you look in the mirror and you hate the reflection looking back at you. You deserve love, and you deserve to love yourself. You deserve to look at that reflection in the mirror and feel unlimited love for it. You deserve to care about yourself and respect yourself and not put yourself down. Or when people try to diss you, you tell them, you know what? F off. Like, I'm not taking this from you. And like I said, I don't want it to sound like I'm yelling at you. It's like I'm pleading at you because I want you to wake up to the beauty that you have inside. I want you to see just how much power that you have. And the reason that I see this is because the card of the version of you that people look up to is one of the very few cards in this deck that are part of the spirit element. All the other ones are like earth, fire, water, air, but the spirit element is so powerful, so meaningful. It is something that is high above everyone else. It's like ascended above everyone else. And that is who you can grow into. But who you are right now is this camel card. And the first thing that I thought of is like, well, camels aren't really, they're not the best looking. I'm not saying that you're not good looking, because I think that you very well could be. I think that you don't see it. You think of yourself as ugly. And therefore, when you look in the mirror, you just assume that you're ugly, but you're not. I think that you are a gorgeous person, not just outside, but inside as well. But another thing about the camel is this thing that I like to joke about a lot, because I heard it in my favorite book, The Alchemist. It was this thing that this guy in the book said is like, camels are untrustworthy because they will walk and walk and walk, and they won't show any signs of being sick until the moment that they die, which is why you should have a horse, because you can start to see when it gets sick. But what it made me think of for you is when you're hurting, when you're sick, you don't show it. You just keep walking until the day that you can't walk anymore, and suddenly you just collapse out of nowhere. And then everyone around you is like, oh, what the hell just happened? Why did they just collapse? They look fine. They were just smiling and laughing with everybody. And I think you're nearing this brink. You're nearing this moment where you do have a total breakdown. And the only thing that can stop it is not putting up with this shit anymore. Because you're not someone that deserves to be put down. No one deserves to be put down. But it's like you've been so self-deprecating to yourself. You have such a strong self-hatred towards yourself. And think of the inner child that lives within you. Every time that you say something, I hate you, you're saying that to the younger version of yourself. I want you to imagine the kid version of yourself standing in front of you. Why are you yelling at them? You don't have to. And I know that you felt like you needed to. You felt like it would keep you protected, it would keep you safe, it would make people laugh, and therefore they would like you, and then they'd stick around and you wouldn't be alone. But you don't have to do that anymore. And not only do you not have to do it, it's just blatantly not true. It's hiding from the truth. And I want to read to you, in this guidebook, the meaning of the black egg card. The version of you that you are growing into, the version of you that people look up to. The black egg, speaking from an authentic voice, the truth. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies, not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in, books draw us in, the concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself? And what is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It is available at every moment, in every situation. It's the epicenter of truth, the birthplace of our voice. So I want you to take in the words that were on those pages, maybe even listen to them over again, because what I get from those words is your throat chakra, if you believe in it, is extremely blocked. And if you look at that from a psychological sense, it's more like anything that you want to say, any truth that needs to be expressed through you, you bottle it up, you don't say it, and therefore you don't even know what the truth is anymore. You've confused yourself into believing that you are less than you are. You've confused yourself and tricked yourself into believing that you're ugly or worth hating or that no one will love you, and it's not true. And your soul is coming to a breaking point where it just can't be being put down anymore, not by other people and especially not by you, because it hurts most when it's from you. Because it's like if you say something, your brain doesn't know if it's a lie or not. I mean, logically you know if it's a lie or not, but you're tricking your mind and your body into believing it, and it's poisoning you from the inside out. And like I said with the camel card, is no one sees how deeply you're hurting. You joke about it, you go along with it until the point that you can't anymore, and then one day you just drop. And I think with the egg card, what it is telling you to do is it's time to be honest. You first need to start by being honest with yourself. But when people start joking about, oh yeah, pile 2 is so dumb, shut it down. Or if you don't feel comfortable standing up for yourself, distance yourself from them. Or tell yourself, I know that not to be true. Other people might joke about it because that's their preconceived notion of me, but I know that it's not true, and what matters is the truth from me. When you can stand in that truth, it'll start to be reflected in other people. People will no longer start to have this idea of you, this false idea of you. And the people that continue to hold on to those beliefs, distance yourself from them. Because those are not people that you want in your life. Those are people that will hold you back. And people that will continue to poison your heart. Because that's what I think is going on with you. Your heart is being poisoned with this negativity, this self-hatred, and this self-doubt. And you are so close to a crumbling point. And I can feel it. I can feel how tired your soul is. How tired you are. How little you care for yourself, how little you think of yourself. But it's not too late for this to be rectified. It's not too late for you to stand in your true power and have people respect you. I think you've forgotten how it even feels to be respected. It's been so long. And again, I'm not yelling at you. I'm not telling you like, you need to respect yourself, like you're doing things horribly. I don't blame you. You were doing everything because it helped you feel safe. All these times that you were put down and you went along with it, you did it because it helped you stay loved. It kept people laughing, so therefore you are around people, and it helped you feel safe. Because that's why we do anything. Everything that we do is to make ourselves feel better, even if it seems contradictory. But it's time for you to stop. It's time for you to be authentic. And like the book said about how when you're finally able to express your truth, you're drawn to writing and, putting things out there. I think that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to share your voice. But you're so put down. You have such a lack of respect, such a lack of belief in yourself. You're like, oh, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Everything that I have to say is stupid. It doesn't matter. That's not true. I see deep, deep inside of you, inside this black egg, there is a truth that wants to be put out into the world. The words that you have to say, the creativity that you have, the imagination that you have is meant to be shared in this world. And it will be meaningful to so many people. Even if it's not on a grand scale, like publishing a book, just the truth that you have to express to those around you who want to hear it, that is so meaningful. And you shouldn't shut yourself up. You shouldn't close your mouth and say that what you have to offer doesn't matter, because it does. You have so much to offer to the world. Now, I know that was a very long rant. That was only for these first 2 cards, but it was so important that I get it out to you, that I get it across to you, and I hope that I did it justice and that I said it clearly enough that you understood what I was trying to convey. But now I want to move on to the specifics here of, in order to become this person that people look up to, what do you need to do less of, what do you need to do more of, and, what do you need to do more of, basically. So, starting off with what you need to do less of. We have the Sadness card and the High Priestess reversed. And the High Priestess card is also about the truth. It's about intuition and deep understanding and deep knowing within oneself. But with it being reversed, because you have these lies, because you don't know the truth of just how strong you are, just how beautiful you are inside and out, just how meaningful you are, you're stuck in this pit of sadness. I wouldn't be surprised if you were extremely depressed, if you hated yourself, if you had a loathing for yourself, because you're living in this world where you don't know yourself. You don't know the truth of who you are. When you can flip this High Priestess card back around and have it upright, when you can truly know yourself inside and out, when you have a deep intuitive knowing of yourself and your values and your place in the world that's not clouded by other people's judgment, but solely comes from yourself, that's when you can escape this sadness. The reason you're living in this sadness is because you've gone on with this self-deprecation for so long, it's become the truth to you. But it's not the truth. Just like I said when I was reading the book about the Black Egg card. You don't know the truth, and therefore your judgment is clouded and you're stuck in this haze that you can't get out of. But it's time to get out of it. And I know that you're scared to be alone. That's why you've done all this. You don't want to be outcast from your friend group. You don't want to be, outcast from your family by speaking up or distancing yourself from these people. But you have to. It's time to distance yourself from these people, because the people that will continue to put you down, you can't continue to exist like this. You are close to a breakdown. You're close to this moment of no return. You can't continue to exist like this because there is such a depression, there is such an unhappiness that I feel from you. And it was all to protect yourself, to keep people around you, but the people that are around you are not good. A good person that loves you truly doesn't want to hear you say that you think you're stupid. If my friends heard me say that I'm stupid, they would slap me across the face, because those are true friends that love me. If you say like, oh, I'm so dumb, or I'm so ugly, and people laugh, those are not people that love you. And I need you to get that through your head, because I know how scared you are to be on your own. It's literally like, something I heard recently is the reason people stay in abusive relationships is because they'd rather stay there and take the abuse than be alone, because that's how afraid they are to be on their own. And I'm not here to tell you that loneliness is like, it's gonna feel fine. It feels horrible. It feels horrible to be lonely. But when you're on your own, you don't have to worry about any other people. You only have to worry about yourself. You get to explore what you love, what you want to do. And I know how scary it is, but it's time to distance from these people. And I know that you're afraid that, what if I stop making these self-deprecating jokes? What if I stop hanging around these people and I have no one, and then no one new comes along and then I'm alone forever? That is not the truth. That is not what is going to happen. For one, I have this personal belief that we are meant to have people in our lives. Even if we are alone for a bit, it's because in that space and time we are meant to be alone. But the universe's greatest teachers for us are other people. So we're not going to be alone forever. You're not going to be alone forever. And you haven't known any other reality but this. So there's no wonder that you're afraid to leave it behind. But it's time to grow past this. It's time to leave these people behind, because these people, they might as well hate you. But you're continuing to stay here because you're afraid of what it's like to be alone, to truly face yourself and your demons and everything that you've been yelling at yourself for the past lifetime that you've lived. But you need to get out of it, because this isn't sustainable anymore. And reiterating this in the cards, the next two cards that I have here about what you need to do more of. You have isolation and the star, and obviously I covered up the star because YouTube doesn't like nudity. But what you need to do more of is learn how to be on your own. And I know it's scary. Like, I can feel your fear and apprehension of not talking to people, of suddenly distancing yourself, of putting up boundaries. I know it's scary, but you need to be able to trust yourself that you can get through it. Because at this point, the camel is all about perseverance through darkness and hurt. You've been persevering for a very long time through all this pain. Wouldn't it be nice to just not have to hear any of it anymore? And I know that you're scared because what if you hear it from yourself? You hate to hear your voice putting you down when you're alone, because when you're alone with your thoughts, that's when they come up. But now is the time that you get to repair those thoughts. Now is the time that you get to reverse them and change them. Change the narrative from inside you. Change the words that you tell yourself and start living a more positive, a mentally positive life. And that's what you deserve. But the only way to get there is to distance yourself from these people. And I know how scary that is, but when you're in this isolation, it's time to heal. With the star card is all about hope, rejuvenation, refilling your own cup, healing yourself, having hope for the future that things can change, and just having a moment of peace to take care of yourself. So some things that I want to recommend to you when you do go into this moment of isolation, which I hope that you do, is distancing yourself from these people, maybe even deleting social media that you have so that you're not connected to them, because I think that you do compare yourself very often to these people. I think that you compare your looks and maybe, I don't know what age you are, but you compare your job to theirs or your school to theirs or how they're doing in life versus how you're doing in life. It's time to stop the comparison and just focus on yourself, because there's so much work that you need to do on your own. You don't have time and energy to focus it on other people. The healing needs to start with you right now. It is long overdue. And so some things that I would recommend is just taking care of yourself. Even though you might not feel worthy of it, you might not feel that you deserve it, but you are worthy of it. Everybody is worthy of being taken care of. I mean, that's what you've been trying to do this whole time. By trying to make people love you, by trying to make people accept you, by putting yourself down, you've just been trying to make them, make yourself feel worthy of love. So it's time to do that on your own. Time to start taking care of yourself, and start with the small things. Taking care of your hygiene. Taking care of cleaning up your room, organizing your life. Letting yourself, go get your Starbucks drink if that's what you enjoy. Not restricting yourself. If there's little things that you do that give you a little bit of comfort, don't feel guilty about them. And what I want to say is, if you have body image issues, obviously I'm not a licensed therapist. I don't really have any room to speak on this issue. But if you could find sources online, maybe YouTubers who have gone through this before, listen to their story, listen to how they were able to get through things, listen to how they were able to heal. I actually can recommend one that I know about. Her name is Chloe Taylor. She's also a pick-a-card YouTube reader, but she has a podcast called Divine Authenticity, and she talks a lot about healthy eating habits, body image things, because she has personally gone through it. So I would highly recommend you check out her podcasts. They're also just helpful in a lot of different ways as well, but what you really need to be focusing on right now is taking care of yourself. And I get the sense from your reading that it's very hard for you to do so. I think it's hard for you to take care of your needs because you feel like you don't deserve it, but I want you to know that you are worthy of it. Everybody is worthy of being taken care of. And like I said, there might be little things that you enjoy doing, but you restrict yourself from them because, I shouldn't have the calories, I shouldn't go to Starbucks. Let yourself have a little bit of enjoyment. That is what you need, first and foremost, to get out of this rut. Because you are at such a delicate place right now, I can feel how close you are to breaking. It's not time for you to suddenly, jump headfirst into an extreme diet, workout, build your own business kind of regimen right now, it's time to start with the little steps. Because it's been neglected for so long. Like what I want to, an analogy I can think of is like when people rescue those dogs or those animals off the side of the road that are so malnourished, if you suddenly shove a whole bowl of food in front of them, they're going to start barfing. You need to start off with a little bit, like a little bit of sugar water, a little bit of like milk, just little things. Maybe their body can't even handle a bath yet, so just kind of like brushing them clean gently. That's what you need right now. Eventually you could get into the more rigorous stuff, but you've come so close to a breaking point. You just need little things to take care of you. And what I want to say also is, I don't know exactly what kind of support system that you have around you. Maybe you don't have anybody because everybody in your life would put you down like this. But if you have even one person to lean on, tell them the truth of what you've been going through. And if they're a true friend, they'll be somebody that you can rely on. And obviously, you shouldn't dump all your shit onto people like every day. But like if they're your parents, like if you can even rely on your parents, which I hope that you can, tell them the truth of how you've been feeling and how you need to be taken care of. And I know how hard it is to go it alone. So if you can lean on just one person, or maybe other people that are going through this like you, that could be what you need to get through this. But obviously, there are some parents where you tell them something and they just don't understand. They're like, you just need to man up. And it's like, God, it's so frustrating. But just start with those little things. Build back up your strength. Build back up your ability to face yourself in the mirror. You can do it. I know that you can. And I believe in you, but it's going to be a long process. It might even be a process that takes your whole life. But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. You just need to take that one step. And you know what? You might fall along the way. You might go back 3 steps. But as long as you're still focusing on putting one foot in front of the other, you will get to that end goal. You'll find true happiness, true self-respect, and you will evolve into this kind of person that not just other people look up to, but that you right now would look up to. And so the final 2 cards here that we have are Growth and the 3 of Cups reversed. And it's basically just a reiteration of what I've said before. Your cards are all very synonymous with the same message. But the biggest thing here with this 3 of Cups reversed is it's time to leave these people behind. These people that were harming you mentally, that were putting you down, they don't have a place in your life anymore. I mean, I want you to imagine if you were someone else, watching someone else go through this, watching someone else put up with people putting them down constantly, hanging around people that make them feel bad about themselves. You would tell them to get out of there, wouldn't you? So do the same for yourself. Be your biggest supporter. And there is so much growth that you are meant to do. You are going to blossom into the full potential of who you're meant to be. But it starts with one step. It starts with cutting out these people. It starts with isolating yourself so that you can learn and heal and grow yourself again. So you can fill your own cup. So you can take care of yourself. And it's going to be a hard journey. I know how hard it's going to be. I know how exhausting it's going to be. I know how scary it's going to be, especially being on your own. But I want you to do it for the younger version of yourself who still lives inside you. The child version of you who was put down. Do it for them. Be better for them. Take care of yourself like you're taking care of them. And the final card that I have here for you is a piece of advice directly from your spirit guides, and it's the card that you chose at the very beginning. And this card is the Magpie. Reevaluate your priorities. It is time to let go of what you no longer need. So, pile 2. That is everything that I have for you today. I really, really hope that this finds you when you need it. I hope that this reading helps you, and if you made it this far, I mean, I don't even know how long this reading is, but thanks for making it this far. But yeah, that's everything that I have to say. I love you. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3, last but certainly not least. First of all, I'm really enjoying this color scheme that we have going on. Second of all, your reading is very straight and to the point. There is one big message that I have here for you, which basically tells me that you're already very close to being the kind of person that people can look up to, But there is one grave mistake that you're making right now that is holding you back from that. And I feel like it's something that people can see clearly when they look at you. I think that you're a very accomplished person. I think that you're very good at what you do, but I think that your priorities are kind of not in the right direction. And I'll get further into this. So, starting off with these two cards here, we have the hummingbird and the turtle. And these cards are who you are right now with the hummingbird and the version of you that people can look up to, which is the turtle. With you showing up as the hummingbird, the first thing that I think of when I think of a hummingbird is somebody constantly buzzing around, doing lots of work, moving very fast. I mean, hummingbirds, their hearts beat like 1,000 miles a minute or something like crazy. So when I imagine a hummingbird, I'm imagining somebody spreading themselves very thin. They're trying to work on so many things at once, get so many things done. They don't really prioritize themselves, and they also don't really prioritize the things that they enjoy doing and the relationships that they have around them. I think that you're very driven. You care a lot about your career and your schooling, and I think that you're trying to spin a lot of plates in the air right now, but you can't do it all. You know, the hummingbird is very small. Yes, it can move very fast, but it's still a finite being. It can only do so much. And I think that you're rushing towards goals so quickly because you feel like they're gonna fall through your fingers if you don't get there fast enough, if you're not moving fast enough. But the version of you that people look up to is a turtle. And turtles are very slow. So it's almost like slow and steady wins the race. If I'm looking at these two cards compared here, it's like the story of the tortoise and the shrew. Was it a shrew? Tortoise and the hare. Not a shrew. I don't know why I said shrew. But if you've never heard of that one, which I'd be surprised if you haven't, it's about this tortoise who's super slow moving, going along this race, and the hare is a rabbit, like a jackrabbit. They're very fast creatures, and it's like making fun of the tortoise, and it's like, I'm gonna get there way before you. But the hare gets so cocky, it ends up like laying down to take a nap. But when it wakes up, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot that I'm supposed to be doing this race. But the tortoise, who was slow and steady, crossed the finish line before the hare and actually beat it in the race. And so, with this analogy in mind, I want you to think of the fact that if you were to slow down, take things a little bit slower, stay dedicated to what you're doing, but allow yourself to have a more balanced life where you're not constantly focusing from task to task, allowing yourself time to spend it on loving those around you, loving life and all this, you're still going to get to those end goals. But I think your priorities are in the wrong direction and you're living a very unbalanced life right now. And people can see that. What I was imagining when I say people can see that is people can see you. They see your dedication, how much you care. But they also see this like anxious energy coming off you. They see how busy and like how much is on your plate all the time. And it's like, that's not a truly fulfilled person. You know, it's definitely like you can look up to the dedication, and some people will tell you like that's all you need. You don't need this work-life balance. It's just work, work, work. But you have to ask yourself, are those people happy in life? Are they living a fulfilling life? Are you living a fulfilling life? And so in order to be somebody that people can look up to, you need to be able to have this balance. And a lot of people think like, you know what, I'll have that balance when I'm older. I'll have it when I actually have a successful career. You need to know when to stop. And I don't think you know when to stop. Because you could certainly have a balanced life right now. And I don't mean like completely give up on like your goals and stuff like that, but you can allocate time differently. You can allocate your energy differently. And you also have to ask yourself, are all of these things that you're working towards necessary? Like, what do you really value out of this life? Do you value, like, collecting stacks of cash and, like, hoarding all this money and, like, having all these prizes and stuff if you don't have somebody to share it with? And one of the first messages I got, like, that really came to mind here when I got the stop card is, you don't know when to stop. And I think it's time for you to learn when to take breaks. So, getting into the individual piles here, starting off, we have what do you need to do less of in order to become this kind of person that people look up to? And you have the Hunger card and the Five of Cups reversed. And what this is telling me is basically like I just told you. I think that you have a very strong hunger and dedication and drive towards accomplishing certain goals. You might be a very competitive person, but like I said, you don't know when to stop, and you don't know what should be the true priority right now. And something that you should be doing less of is, okay, let's say that you're at school right now, like you're at college, for instance. This is just an example. And let's say that you have a major and a minor, and you're an intern, and you're a TA for your professor, and you also are like helping your friends like write their thesis or something, right? You have 5 things on your plate, just like there's 5 cups here. You need to ask yourself which 2 are really important. Pick 2 out of those. Maybe you don't need the minor, or maybe you only want the major and the minor, or maybe you really care about the internship in the major. But the other things, like, I want you to look at this card here. With this 5 of Cups, you see this guy who, he has 3 cups that have fallen over, and he's so busy focusing on how those didn't work out, or how they fell over, he doesn't notice there are 2 still standing. And if he could dedicate his attention to the ones that are still standing, he would accomplish so much more within those 2 spheres, instead of trying to keep all these balanced and always focusing on where he failed. And it's like you have this hunger to accomplish a lot, which that is something that you can look up to. Like, that is something that's like, wow, that person has a lot of drive. But you're still just human. You can only balance so much, and you have this strong hunger to have all these things on your plate. But when you spread yourself too thin across all 5 of these things, they're all going to start to do poorly. Versus if you take a little bit off your plate, you have a lot more energy and time to dedicate to these other things, they're going to start to do way better. So like, if you were doing those 5 things like I said, maybe your major and your minor, you start to like fail some classes because you're also focusing on like this internship and being a TA. And then like when you're a teacher's assistant, you know, the people that you're supposed to be helping out are like, dude, I turned in this paper, you haven't graded it, and then you have all these stresses. Or then the professor is like, why are you doing so poorly teaching the students in this class? You're supposed to be leading these discussions better. In your internship, you end up having really poor performance in it, and then so the people that are in charge there are like, yeah, we're not recommending this person to any future jobs. Like, you better take us off the resume because you did so poorly here. And your friend that you're supposed to be helping write that thesis, you haven't contacted them in a week. And it's like, you need to slow down. You can have the opportunity to do all these things eventually, but you can't do them all at the same time. Focus on 2 at a time. Allow yourself to fully work on these things and give them your full undivided attention. And then when they're done, move on to the internship. When that's done, be a TA. When that's done, you can help your friend with their thesis. Like, it doesn't all have to be done at the same time. You can spread it out across a long time, and I feel like you have such an anxious energy that you feel like if you don't get it done, it's going to slip through your fingers and you're not going to be able to do it anymore. And the truth is, you can. You'll find opportunities. Maybe it's not the specific opportunity that you wanted, but something just like it is still possibly around the corner. But spreading yourself thin is going to make everything fail, and it's also going to make you fail. You're not going to be able to participate fully in like your personal relationships. You're gonna have a hard time maintaining like your social going outs or whatever, so your social battery is gonna be all over the place. And on top of that, if you can't balance these 2, are you even getting any sleep at night? Your health is gonna start failing, then your focus starts failing, and then everything starts failing. Versus if you could be like the turtle, be like the tortoise in the race, slow and steady, accomplishing things properly, focusing your undivided attention on things when you have time for them, and still being able to focus on yourself, focus on your family, your friends, your partner, you're going to get to that end of the race feeling so much better. There's actually something that I recently heard in like a YouTube video. I don't even think I was watching it. I like scrolled past it. But it basically said that there's this experiment that was done where there's this guy that would always bike to work. And he knew it took 45 minutes, so he would always leave 45 minutes beforehand. But he was always like racing and worried about like or getting there on time. And he would of course always get there on time. But then one day he decided, okay, I'm going to leave 15 minutes earlier and I'm going to time myself and I'm going to take my time. So he really took his time. He wasn't anxious on the ride. He got to like look around while he was riding, and he got there and he realized it only took 50 minutes. It was only 5 minutes longer, but he was able to cut back on all that anxiety, all that worrying, all that rushing. He wasn't sweating when he got to work. And it's like, if you slow down a little bit and allow yourself to allocate your time, you might realize that your burnout is actually making things take a lot longer than you think. You might still accomplish all these things in due time. You'll just be a lot less stressed out. So the next two cards that I have for you here are, what should you be doing more of? And it's basically the same reiteration, which is going to be like all these cards basically, just said slightly differently, because I feel like you really need to get this message through your head. What you need to do more of, you have the Love card and the Eight of Pentacles reversed. And the Eight of Pentacles reversed is telling me like it's time to take a break. You look at this card and it's this guy that's working on the same pentacle over and over and over again, churning this out. And you know, hard work is a good thing when it's done properly. But like I said, you're kind of like failing in all departments right now because you're trying to take on too much. And something that you're severely missing out on right now is human connection. You're devoting so much importance to your studies or your school or your career or whatever it is that you haven't had any time to like fully connect to people around you. And these things like your social battery and hanging out with people aren't just meaningless things that we do for fun. They actually physically like recharge you and give you more energy to do things. And the same thing with sleep. It's like trying to go a long time without sleep, trying to go a long time without fun is going to lead to burnout, which makes your career and school and stuff suffer. So instead of thinking of it as like, oh, it's just like a useless time waster, I don't need to devote any time to hanging out with people. Actually, you kind of do. Like, you're still a human being. You still have needs. If you're not fulfilling those needs, your social needs, your sleep needs, your work is going to start to fail. So you need to ask yourself to start prioritizing things properly, having a proper balance. Because being this hummingbird constantly flitting around, running out of energy, isn't doing anybody any favors. And finally, with the Stop card and the Lovers card here, like I said before, you need to know when to stop. I think you're a little bit of a workaholic. And it's tough, especially if you really do, in your mind, prioritize work over everything else, prioritize financial success over everything else. But it's time for you to take a look at what your soul truly wants out of this life. Why do you want this money? Is it so that you have financial freedom so that you can hang out with friends? So that you can have a family? I mean, of course those things are very important, but can you still achieve financial freedom and hang out with people at the same time and still have time for your partner and not be so bogged down? It is possible to have a balance. It's going to be a little harder. I'm not saying that you can still maintain everything that you're doing and your partnerships and your friendships, but that's why I'm saying it's time to reallocate things. You're so focused on like work, no time for anyone else. Before you know it, life is going to pass you by and you're not going to have any of those connections. And what you truly want from this financial freedom is the ability to be around these people. But you know what? I guarantee you these people probably have work too. They probably have other responsibilities too. But they're probably also still trying to make time for other people. And I feel like you're getting so like caught up in this rat race, you don't even know what you value anymore. So what do you truly want out of life? Because you don't have to wait until 10 years later before you can finally start enjoying it. Like, one of the things that makes me really sad is people wait until retirement to do all the things that they want, when their body starts breaking down, when they're like 60 years old. And it's like you got to the end of your life and now you can start living? No. Find ways to live in the moment. Find ways to live right now. Find ways to not be so focused on being a workaholic that you lose yourself and lose others. Because being a human and enjoying this life is about much more than how much is in our bank account. And I know, I'm not saying that money isn't important. I think it is still a very important thing. It's a necessity. We need it to be able to do things. We need it to be able to eat and have a roof over our heads. It's necessary for certain life comforts. It's necessary when you go to the hospital, especially in America. But it doesn't require you to be driving yourself crazy to this extent. It's okay to have a little bit of balance. And I know that you're afraid of taking on those consequences of maybe your schooling takes a little bit longer, maybe you're not making as much money. But you have to ask yourself, are you the kind of person that would be satisfied if you were only allowed to live once you got to the end of your life? Or do you want to start living right now? And I think the version of you that people look up to is the kind of person that can live right now and still be working, still be able to have that work, play, sleep balance, still be able to accomplish things, still be a hard worker, still do really well in whatever they're setting their mind to, but also have that life balance because so many people don't have it. So many people have a hard time maintaining relationships and work, and it's really sad. But I think that you can. You just need to ask yourself, what do you prioritize and how can you make this balance work? And I think that you can. It's just going to take, facing the music of, there are going to be consequences. Maybe I have to make less money. Maybe my schooling's going to take a little bit longer. Maybe that career point that I want to get to is going to take a few extra years. But it allows me to live right now. It allows me to still have a life right now. And I think that's what you need. So, pile 3. Oh, actually, I have one final card for you. This is the card that you chose in the very beginning. This is advice directly from your spirit guides. And it says, this is the Robin card. New growth and potential is on the horizon. Reach out and embrace it. So take whatever that means to you. Ask your intuition what that says to you, what it means to you. But that is everything that I have for you today, Pile 3. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. I hope this brought you some clarity and some confidence on certain things. And I truly do believe that you can be this kind of person that people look up to. But everything has consequences. You just need to ask yourself, what consequences are you ready to live with? So that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.